5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't even know what's happening.
Just exactly how awesome was it?
I mean, mighty.
5, 4, 3, 2.
You got the Mustang, the Camaro, the Challenger, the Corvette, the Viper.
America. Damn, I forgot the bananas.
I love this. And we'll do it live. And we'll do it live.
Crashing, banging, booming. You know what that hard rock music and the sound of our voices means. It's Thursday, and it's time for the TopSpeed.com podcast. TopSpeed.com is your internet home for all the crazy, cool, and amazing automotive things that exist out there in the ether of tubes and Googles and whatnots. Hello, everybody. I'm Christian Moe. Joining me today is our editor-in-chief, Justin Coupler. Hello, Justin.
Hello, Christian. Hello, Top Speeders. And yes, Christian forgot to turn off the YouTube feed.
As always. It's like a tradition right there.
It's not always. The last couple of shows I got it right. This time I just didn't.
It's always wait for it, 5. Ah, there it is.
Yeah. Well, when I heard the bonk again, I was like, oh no, I heard the bonk of us starting the YouTube feed. Crap. All right. Anyways, also joining us is Mr. Mark McNabb. Hello, Mark.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Hope everyone's good and ready for a good show. We got a lot of questions today, too, so I'm excited.
We do. Thank you, everybody, for that. Because, yeah, like, we had no questions last week, and then up until, like, a day and a half ago, we had no questions for this week either. And then, like, a day and a half or 2 days ago, you guys all jumped on there really quick, and I got an own drive burn suggestion and a bunch of questions, and it's all awesome, so I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Also, I did just have a question for you. Since it was so long for you guys to throw all the questions in, like, what day do you guys usually listen to the podcast? Like, if you don't listen to us live, like, when do you usually listen to us? Drop that in the comments or hit us up on the Twitters, at TopSpeed Podcast, or send us an email, podcast@topspeed.com. We're just sort of interested in when you guys listen to this, so we can sort of maybe adjust when we might do it live, or just so we can have better insight into how you guys actually listen to the show.
Yeah, and whether you do it on YouTube or on iTunes.
Yeah, that would be nice to know too. Do you watch us on YouTube, or do you listen to us on iTunes? Just sort of let us know how and when you like to listen to us.
Yeah, just don't tell us you're watching it at midnight on a Saturday, because I'm not going to be here.
Well, we obviously probably won't be able to do a live podcast on Saturday night at midnight. But if that's when you like to listen to it, let me know, and I'll think you're probably kind of weird, but cool. Maybe I'll have a special one-man podcast just for you to tune in live if you like to listen at Saturday at midnight.
With, like, club music and glow lights and stuff.
It won't be a rave. No. No.
We should start talking about cars now.
At the same time, though, while we are going to talk about cars, if I do hold a one-man podcast at, like, midnight on a Saturday, I cannot promise there will not be beer or whiskey involved.
Well, I mean, that's a requirement at that.
It's just a thing if it's going to be Saturday night at midnight. So, all right, let's go ahead and actually talk about some cars. Quick announcement. So I just did a review for the F1 2014 video game a few weeks ago. If you've never played one of the F1 games, it's pretty good. I didn't like it quite as much as last year because they took out one of my favorite little pieces, but overall it's a solid game. But I'm getting a whole bunch of those to give away. So pay attention to the podcast, pay attention to the website. There should be more news on that soon. All right, like within a week or so. But I'm getting a bunch of copies for Xbox 360 and for PlayStation 3, and I'm going to be giving them away to people. So if you want free video games, pay attention. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into Weekly Wheels. Technically, the only one with a Weekly Wheels this week is Mark. Oh, Halty says hi. Hi, Halty.
Hello.
So yeah, technically Mark is the only one with the Weekly Wheels. But I am back in cars. I just got a new car like a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. So I'll have something for next week. But go ahead, Mark, and take it away.
So, yeah, I might be the only one with the weekly wheels, but mine was fantastically awesome enough to be the only car we talk about for basically half the show. And that was the 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA45 AMG. Holy crap, I fell in love with this car. Like, something fierce. It came with the Sport Recaro seats, which are fantastically awesome. And obviously it has that 2-liter four-cylinder with a turbo making 350 horsepower. Just ridiculous. I mean, I compare this car so much to the Fiat 500 and the fact that it's just a Barth.
That last part's important.
Yes, very important. It's just it's that unsaid understood part of the Fiat 500. But yeah, the Abarth, and it's like loud and raucous and noisy and fun and small, and it's a hoot to drive. But, and I think we said this last week on the show too, this car doesn't fail at being a car when you don't need a small compact thing. Like, it actually works. It's got 5 seats, and you can put crap in it, and you can lay the back seats down.
See, that's what's wrong with the Fiat.
It doesn't feel like it's like the Zach Bowman. It doesn't feel like it's riding on a pickle bucket type thing. Like, it's a nice car when you want it to be a car, and it's a great little pocket rocket whenever you want to hog on it. It's got a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, all-wheel drive. Like, I had a lot of fun with this car.
I am jealous. Like anything with an AMG badge, I feel like I'm really low in my frame. Anything with an AMG badge is awesome in all the right ways all the time, especially the noise. Like, I have never heard an AMG car that I didn't just be like, that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, this thing was too. I mean, like, the video's online. It's right on the article, and oh my gosh, like, it was so much fun. And every time I got in the car, eco mode went off, sport mode went on, and I was sport mode in the suspension as well, just so I could hear that exhaust come alive. And
does it start in eco mode every time?
Yeah, it's default setting.
Oh,
and
God,
eco
there's
mode,
got to be a way to change that.
I don't know. Well, it's really quick to get out of. It's just a single button on the dash. Click. You're done. So it's not a setting.
I hate cars that do that. And it's like, well, and I hate cars that will only hold that setting. So, like, all of Toyota's hybrids, like, or like the GS, right? It's got eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode. If you ever put it in eco mode, it will stay in eco mode for all of eternity unless you take it out.
Yeah.
If you put it in sport mode, nope, every time you turn it on, it's back in normal. Like, why? Just, if I put it in sport mode, leave it there. Just leave it there.
Well, you know, I kind of like the fact that every time I get in the car, there's a procedure I have to follow in order to get the car where I want it to be. So I feel like I'm like, you know, cockpit getting ready to take off, and I'm like, eco off, sport on. You know, like.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's like, it was really fun. You know, it was like my little thing that I had going on with my little F-16 fighter cockpit seats.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that. I like the jet.
And I'm also kind of curious if that has something to do with the EPA. I wonder if maybe it has to be a passive thing where it has to start in the mode that they tested it in.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Maybe that's how they cheat the EPA, is they say, well, the car starts in this mode.
Yeah.
That's probably, it's probably how it is. Some sort of regulation
Well, I mean,
to do that.
and the EPA on this wasn't all that great. 23 city, 29 highway, and I got 24. And I was not being very easy on it most of the time.
It's actually not too bad for as insane of a car as that is.
No, I mean, you know, for being a 4-cylinder turbo and being in boost most of the time, yeah.
Right, yeah, those really high-strung turbos are really thirsty.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, like, it was just such a surprising car because, and it's surprising to me because of this. I drove the GLA 250 at the Texas Truck Rodeo, and I have to be honest, the 10 minutes that I was in the car, I was not a fan. It was boring. There was no life to it. They were calling it an SUV, but it wasn't. We couldn't even take it off-road. It was just the on-road section. But this, it was a completely different car. Altogether a completely different car. And I think that's what made it fun.
Oh, hey, we have someone named Willie Fernandez hanging out with us. Hi, Willie.
Hello.
So here's my thing that I have to bring up. You called this not an SUV, but a hot hatch.
Yeah.
You made fun of me for calling the Juke not an SUV, but a hot hatch. These things exist. They are actually hot hatches. They just have like a 1-inch lift because nobody will buy a hatchback, so they can market it as a crossover.
Okay. All right. So let it stand for the record that I correct myself, because not only have I driven this car and realized how fantastically awesome it is, but I also have driven a Juke Nismo R. Fantastic hot hatch.
Juke Nismo RS.
Yes, that.
Say, because the Juke R is the one with the GTR drivetrain. Oh, did they have that at the truck rodeo?
They did.
See, that's such a great little rocket. And I didn't even have the RS one. I just had the Nismo.
No, this was really cool.
It's totally a hot hatch in every way.
And the best thing about it was, we took a break for lunch, and we were all getting back in the cars, and some of the manufacturers were still back at the home base, like eating lunch and stuff like that. But they left all the cars down in the field, obviously all unlocked, all with the keys inside. And I was sitting there, and like, here's the lone Nissan. That's the only Nissan that was there. And the Toyota guy is sitting next to it, and he goes like, "I think he's still at lunch, but it doesn't matter. Just take it." So I didn't have a babysitter in the car, and it was just me and this 6-speed manual.
I love how somebody else from the other company's like, "Don't worry,
just take it. I'll cover it for you." That's exactly what it was, and it was just a blast. So yeah, these two, you know, with the GLA45 Amg and then the Nissan Juke. I mean, like, okay, I think this is manufacturer's backhanded way of giving us hot hatches without actually giving us hot hatches.
Right. It's all a marketing game. Like,
yeah.
It's that 1-inch lift that lets them say, "Oh no, it's a crossover." That's totally what it is.
You see these black fender well linings that protect the paint from off-road debris? Yeah, it totally can go off-road.
Oh yeah, the fact that it's got a manual transmission and Recaro bucket seats and a high-strung turbocharged engine, it is not
that matters
at all.
No.
Oh,
it's got 4-wheel drive. Yeah, I mean,
my Juke did not have 4-wheel drive; it was front-wheel drive.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, this one, my Mercedes came with all-wheel drive. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm looking at the pictures now, and I just like, I would buy this car.
Oh yeah, the black one that they brought you looks evil.
I would buy this car in a heartbeat. It looks like Darth Vader.
I love your video you did of the exhaust. If you guys haven't checked out Mark's review yet, go do that immediately. He took a video of just the exhaust. He just set the camera up right behind the car, and he just starts it up and revs the snot out of it, and it sounds incredible.
Yeah, and for the record, that was a cold start. It was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I had not touched the car before. That is the first start of the day, cold, and that's what it sounds like.
Right? Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah, I must have listened to that video probably 6 or 7 times when I edited it. Wasted so much time doing that. It's so awesome.
So much fun.
And thanks to Mark's new phone, it's all in fancy high def.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk for like 5 seconds about my turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder high-strung car that's in the driveway. I have a Volvo S60. I'm finally back in rotation. It's been like 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm back in cars, and they just showed up on Tuesday. Late Tuesday night, but I have a Volvo S60 T6 Drive E.
Ooh, that sounds swanky.
Yeah, just like the X60 that they brought me a few weeks ago, that even though it says T6 on the back, it is not a 6-cylinder. It is a 4-cylinder, and it is a 2-liter turbo, and it's cranked out to 302 horsepower.
That's not bad.
But this does not have all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It is front-wheel drive.
Okay.
So, I've only put like 50 miles on it so far, and it's kind of a handful from time to time. It's pretty hilarious. The car is tuned to be drivable, so like it upshifts frequently. It's got a 7 or 8-speed transmission. I'd have to look. I'm pretty sure it's 8. I got this 8-speed auto in it. It's really smooth. It upshifts frequently. It keeps me down low in the rev range. But like when you want to pass somebody. Like, I got stuck behind this tractor on one of these back roads. So the road is 45 miles an hour. We're going about 13. But the car's in, like, 4th gear. So I just stand on it. It goes click, 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 click. And then it tries to launch me. But I go almost into the ditch first because as soon as it bites, it tugs hard to the right, and I swing to the left because I just have all of this power coming out of nowhere because it's 300 horsepower just going to the front wheels, and the car like scampers away like a puppy on linoleum trying to get around this tractor. It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh! So what car is this? You said the Volvo what?
S60. So it's their like mid-size sedan thing. So yeah, I'll have.
And that's a good-looking car too.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's in this silver car. It's in the silver color, which I don't like silver cars, but it's in this silver. It looks really nice. It's got these super awesome aftermarket or like optional wheels on it that are like 18 or 19 inches, and they look just great on this thing. I'm super excited to spend some time actually doing photos and videos of it because I really like the way it looks. But hi Cyprian. He has.
What's up?
So yeah, I'm excited about that. So there will be a lot more S60 stuff on next week's show, but that's what I got, and now I'm back in rotation. So yeah, more Weekly Wheel stuff.
No, I'm the only one left out.
Yep.
Time to make a phone call.
I enjoy the break sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes not having the amount of work that comes with a review hanging over your head on top of everything else can be nice.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't enjoy that. I enjoy my cars too much.
Okay.
This week I'm in an STI, so I can't complain at all.
Oh, I know.
I love the cars, but between everything else, it's like, oh.
All right, moving on.
Ah.
We've got a huge pile of news to talk about, and
Yeah,
we've got a bunch of questions. Again, thank you guys for the questions. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. So, all right, we're going to start with a little thing. Ubisoft has a brand new video game coming out first or second week of December called The Crew. It's a game where you can drive across all of the United States. It's a very condensed version, but it's a lot bigger than I ever expected. I'd say I didn't actually try, but if you wanted to go from like the top of Oregon to the bottom of Florida, it would probably take you 25 or 30 minutes to drive across the entirety of the map in this game. Like it's a huge map, easily like 4 or 5 times the size of Forza Horizon. And it feels more open because in Forza there's still some spots that are blocked up that you can't quite get to. Like, oh, there's this lake in the middle of the map for no reason other than to take up space so they didn't have to render it so you can drive through it. And like none of that sort of stuff really is in this game. It was just a beta that I got to play. Little buggy. I had some fairly major server issues. The game crashed a couple times, but that's why they're doing it, to find the problems, fix the problems. But really promising, really interesting. So if you're interested in video games, and one of the big ones that's coming out this holiday season, you can hit that up on the site. I just wanted to throw that out to be like, check it out, it's cool. But let's talk about real news and real exciting news. General Motors is awesome. And Justin wants to tell everybody just how awesome General Motors is, and then me and Mark are going to nod and agree a lot.
Yeah. General Motors is up to some big stuff, and Cadillac in particular. There's a little bit of a leaky poo from a fellow journalist, fellow website. I'm going to let them remain nameless. But they mistakenly published an article regarding the ATS-V coupe, the awesomeness that is the compact coupe, super fast, awesome M4 fighter thingy. And you know, the body's everything we expect. You know, the power hood and the spoiler and splitter and blah blah blah, all that good stuff. The awesomeness is underneath that hood. 3.6 liter V6 twin turbo titanium connecting rods, titanium turbo turbines powering both turbochargers, and at least 450 horsepower. At least 450, and where was the torque again? I had that
450, memorized. I think, as well.
445.
Okay.
At least. Just so BMW doesn't forget, you guys have 425 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Not that big or more powerful is always the most awesome thing in the world, but that number sticks in buyers.
Oh, yeah. When you say 450, and like secretly, I keep hoping that like GM is going to pull a total SRT and be like, it's at least 450 horsepower. By the way, it's got 525.
Yeah. Oh, and
wouldn't that be awesome?
Christian will do cartwheels over this one. It has a 6-speed manual transmission.
Like God intended!
An optional
Amen.
And an optional 8-speed auto. So the best of both worlds. Everybody can enjoy this car. If you want to sit there and run through the gears yourself, have at it. You want to shift yourself like I do, you can have at it. Either way, this thing's going to be fast as hell. It's going to drink gas, and it's going to make everybody in the EPA very, very angry.
It's going to make everyone else who has a soul and a heart very happy.
Yes, and anyone who bought an M4 can be like, oh, but what about this? I'm just curious.
Well, no, okay. Let's go ahead and be honest. A lot of people who buy an M4 buy an M4 because it's got a BMW badge.
That's
Nothing is going to change that.
Yeah, that is very true. But this just shows the direction Cadillac's going. They're just no BS. Whatever they need to do to make it work, they're going to do it. And I'm happy to say it's an American company. And Johan de Neschen, if I'm saying his name right, I salute you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, Johan did some cool things at Infinity. He was one of the guys, I believe, who was behind the idea of the Q50 Eau Rouge. So having him around is a good idea. But the thing that makes me sad, but also excited about this, is you should buy the manual. You should. That's when you should buy. At the same time, you should totally buy the automatic, because it's the same automatic they're putting in the Z06, which means we know for a fact it will handle at least 650 pound-feet of torque. So if you are somebody who wants to buy your car with your turbochargers and then take it down the road to have a man with a little computer turn that boost needle up, because even if this thing drops with 450, out of a 3.6 with 2 turbos, that's nothing. Yeah. A simple tune should easily push that thing to 550 or 600 RPM, or to 550 or 600 horsepower. So if you have the automatic, you're guaranteed already to know that that transmission will hold that much power, and you're not going to run into any issues where, oh no, I just ate the flywheel or tore through my synchros in my manual, because currently, we don't know exactly what manual they're putting in this. Ideally, it's one of the ones they put in the Camaro or whatever, so we know it'll handle the power. But until we have that proof, the safe bet, if you want to tune it, is going to be the automatic.
And we also know
possibly it's the same one out of the Z01, which is rated, right now the Z01's making 580 horsepower and 120 pound-feet of torque or something like that. So
if they're
using
that Tremec 6-speed that they use in that, then yeah, buy the manual, turn the boost up, enjoy everything that is right in the world.
Yeah.
But until we can figure out exactly what transmission is going to be in that, the safe bet for tuners is probably going to be the 8.
Yeah. And we know that if that 8-speed came out of the Corvette, we know that's going to be actually slightly quicker than the manual.
Oh yeah.
Some slushy thing. That's another plus.
Right. Yeah, but again, I'm in my M4 fighter. I want fun on my back roads.
Yeah, I would gladly trade a couple tenths for a better experience. You know what I'm saying? And I think Chris would agree too.
Yeah, a lot of times it's more than a couple tenths. Like the GTR is an incredible machine. I would happily trade 2 seconds on my 0 to 60 split to get a manual, because then I'm still looking at 4.9 seconds, which is not slow at all, and I get three pedals.
Yeah, but for $100,000, you're gonna get 4.9. I get an Aston Martin then.
Oh God, those are so pretty.
But you know what else makes me really happy is that GM is actually making this power plant. I mean, a twin turbo V6, the 3.6 liter. I mean, that's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that it makes its way into the Camaro.
Maybe. I mean, it's on the same platform, so if it does.
Yep.
Well,
there's no way they're going to be convenient if they actually did that.
Well, so here's the problem with that though. Then what are they going to do about the V8 Camaro?
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
if they put this 3.6 in there, I'll bet it's detuned a little bit. Just enough.
Well, here's my thing. Like, they could have the SS, and then they could come out with maybe a high performance version, not the Z01, but they would have to call it something else. For the 3.6 V8 or the 3.6 V6. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe skip the RS package, make an RS trim level.
Yeah.
Well, they already have an RS package.
Well, yeah, but that's a package. I said skip the RS package.
Oh, they just make it okay. I mean, maybe. Yeah, like that puts it into weird shaky ground, because then you're stuck with, well, okay, our V6 model that's supposed to be sort of positioned below our SS V8 is kind of better than the V8 in every way. Oops.
Well, that just means
it'll cater
it has to be that much better.
People. It's going to cater to different people, but that might be spreading a little bit too thin, though.
Right. Yeah, you're running into that sort of eating each other's market sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so that's awesome. So that is a car that would be cool if they made, but we're not sure if they're gonna make it. You know what car we know they're not gonna make? Another RX-8.
Yep. Well, apparently we heard from the man himself, as we segue into this nice another segment. The CEO of Mazda, and I don't even want to pronounce his first name, but his last name is Koji or something like that. Anyway, he is basically saying, nail in the coffin to the RX-8. We're not going to make any other vehicles like that. Our model line is already stretched out too much, and we're just going to concentrate on making what we've got even better. And we're going to concentrate on Skyactiv, and we're going to concentrate on lowering weight, and we're going to make them generationally a better product. And so he is saying we're not going to devote any money to things like the RX-8. And he, in this interview with Automotive News, he makes this really interesting comment about baseball, and it's really long, but the condensed version is, we don't need a home run if each player hits a single, which means each player is going to do just good enough, and we're not going to have a halo car, presiding over it.
I don't know how many times we're going to go back and forth on this thing. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. Now it's off again. 3 weeks from now, Automotive News is going to run something else where, oh, no, they said they might come back, da-da-da-da-da.
So here's the thing, though. This car needs to die.
Well, the rotary needs to die. The rotary is not an efficient engine. It's not.
No.
It's an awful engine.
I love the idea of a rotary engine because it is unique. Like, I love unique cars. I like the idea that it feels like nothing else, that it is like nothing else in the world, that it's a whole different experience, the way it feels, the way it drives, the way it sounds. It's like completely unlike anything else. At the same time, it's a terrible, terrible engine. It makes absolutely no power. It absolutely swallows gas. The thing breaks constantly. Oil seals. Yeah, like it just... It is extremely terrible and inefficient in every single way possible. I'm glad it exists. I'm also glad it's dead.
Yeah, and then every time they attempted to make it better, like they did with the 90s Mazda RX, pop a turbocharger on it, what do? You blow the seals even faster.
Yeah. I mean, the thing only made at 9,000 RPM, which is one of the advantages of a rotary. They're only making 232 horsepower.
The worst thing, though, is
what's the torque level?
130, like in the
212.
Huh? No, that's not torque. I had an RX-8. That thing was like...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That 212 is if you got the automatic transmission.
Automatic. The torque should be in the 130, 140 range. It was terrible. It's just awful.
Yeah.
And it's wound out like 7,000 RPMs.
Yeah, so to give you guys an idea, that is less torque than a Toyota Prius in your sports car.
Yeah, people don't think they again, like I said with the 450 horsepower with the Cadillac, horsepower sells cars, but torque is what keeps people interested in the car.
Yeah.
Sure, you can sell that big horsepower number, they go drive it, yeah, big horsepower, then they really get on like, oh, wait a minute. Why is this camera keeping up with me off the line?
and like, I know it's a stolen VTEC joke, but like seriously, a rotary engine is like having a car with all the turbo lag in the entire world, but no turbo.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. I mean, I had an RX-8. I had an RX-8 for approximately 3 weeks before I traded it on my Mazda Speed Miata. I liked it for just a few days, and I just got sick of it. Like you said, swallows gas, gulped gas, and I was driving 40 miles to work and back. Wasn't fast at all. I mean, it would sound fast. It had a big boiler exhaust on the back. Just sounded awesome. 9,000 RPMs. It was fun to cruise around town in. But when it came to filling it back up, I was bankrupt.
Right, and I mean they do handle well because they've got that same sort of setup. Because the rotary engine is actually very compact.
Oh yeah,
so
kind of.
They've got the same sort of thing going like the FRS and BRZ do, where the engine is really small, really far back, and really low. So handling is great.
Yeah.
But Mazda wanted like 30 grand for these things, and they make no horsepower, like less horsepower and less torque than the BRZ and FRS that everyone wants more power out of.
Well, the horsepower wasn't bad. The horsepower was 232. It's the torque at 159 that was crap.
Yeah,
but still,
I mean, you had to ring this thing out to almost redline. Redline is 9,500, and the peak horsepower is at 9.
8,500. I'm looking at it. Unless you're looking at the automatic one. Automatic might be different.
Oh, from everything I read, it was 9,500 for the redline.
Yeah, 9,500 redline. I'm looking 8,500 peak horsepower, but it could be. You could be looking at a different year though. They've changed it a few times.
We have another watcher commenting. Hi.
Oh.
Ji Cheng Fingy, Jing Chen Jiffy?
Hi.
Ji Chen Jiffy? I don't know. I like GIFs.
All right, cool. Whatever.
I have entire GIF conversations with people. All right, so RX. Well, let's go ahead and recap. Mark has driven the GLA 45 Mercedes, and he loves it.
Yep.
I have driven a Volvo, and I think it has torque steer. Video games are cool. Cadillac is awesome because it comes with 3 pedals and all of the horsepowers, and there's not going to be a new RX-8. So if you're just tuning in, that covers our show so far. Now let's talk about some LA stuff, or LA stuff. So Lexus has announced they're coming with another LF concept. So if you pay attention, they've done lots of these. The last one was the LF-LC. It was this super cool, sexy, long, sort of 2+2 hybrid sports car thing that everyone's expecting that if it hits production is going to be a nice competitor to like the BMW i8, that sort of range. And now they've sent out a teaser photo of a car with no top, and they said that they are announcing the LF-C2 open top concept at LA. We literally have no information on it other than that one little photo and the fact that it's going to announce. But I put on my thinking cap, and I think it's probably just going to be a convertible version of the LF-LC hybrid convertible or hybrid concept from last year.
Likely.
But that's a good thing, I think, because again, that car looked great, and BMW i8 Spider, like that's a topless thing. So there's no reason that Lexus, if they really want to target that sort of market, shouldn't create a convertible version of this car. And just the silhouette they sent us does look pretty good, actually.
Yeah, if you put the silhouette next to the LF-LC, like top to bottom, the front end is almost identical.
Right, and that's one of the best cars. The spindle grille sort of looks like, on that nose, it looks awesome.
And one thing I'm excited and kind of anxious for Lexus to bring out is a convertible version of the RC.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This is going to do.
That's going to happen. Just because the way the engineering of the RC is, and the fact that the center belly section or the center chassis section is from the old ISC sedan, the convertible hardtop. I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be a very quick chop to make the RC a convertible, and we should see that soon.
Well, so that's one thing that sort of worried me, is that this might just be the announcement of that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
looking at the profile, it doesn't quite fit. But you never know with Lexus.
Here's what I think is probably going to happen. So we saw the LFCC, which was actually the concept version of the RC. Then we saw the LFLC, which the RC took some cues from. So probably we might even see them just go backwards, say, hey, here's a convertible version of the LC. Then, hey, here's a convertible version of the CC, which is going to end up being the RC convertible.
Yeah.
That they just snag cues from the C2. God dang, too many of these C's.
all of the C's and all of the L's. So like, what do you guys think? If you're out there watching, drop us a little thing in the comments. We'll hit this again in just a second. So we don't know what they're gonna do, but we're hoping it's good. Let's talk about Mercedes, who apparently Johan Danielsen is now working at Mercedes as well, because he likes to change everybody's names.
Yeah, Mercedes has officially gone nuts, dropped a hand grenade in their SUV and Roadster lineup and said, boom, let everything kind of fall where it fell. But it kind of fell in place. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. Here's the deal. Here's what they're doing. Basically, okay, the G class that we all know, the big box of things, been around since the 1970s and barely changed. They took that. That's kind of like the Halo SUV. That's going to be the first letter in the SUV class. Then they're going to take the L, which is, I guess, what by Mercedes speak is just what it appears over time of history of Mercedes, so they're going to just use it after the G. So you have GL, and the final letter is going to be the SUV's respective position in the lineup relative to the core models of Mercedes, which is the A, B, C, E, and S class. So you have the GLA, the GLB, the GLC, the GLE, and the GLS.
And then the G.
And then the G at the very top.
The G-Wagon.
So basically, if you look at Mercedes' main core lineup, where the A is the smallest, you put a GL in front of that, you have the smallest SUV, GLA. The B class, the next size up, GLB, and so on and so forth. They're not going to bring out any new models, though. These are all going to be the same old models, so to kind of summarize...
they're doing essentially what Infiniti did.
Yeah.
Where they've got the QX is all of their SUVs. The difference is they're at least sticking to a more discernible structure.
Yeah, they're taking their core that everybody knows, A, B, C, E, and S, and using the GL prefix in front of them, basically.
Well, and it's following closer to what Audi and BMW do. So, like, everyone knows a 3. BMW makes a 3, whether it's the X3 or the 325. The 3 Series is the 3 Series. There's the X3 SUV 3, and then just the 3, which is the sedan 3, and like that's a thing, and we know what size that is, and we know 3 is smaller than 5, and we know 5 is smaller than 7. And like that's sort of how they have their lineup done, and it's easy to understand. And Audi does the same thing. There's the A1 and the A3 and the A4 and the A5 and the A6 and the A7 and the A8. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Infiniti did it sort of weird because they went for like pricing tier instead of size, but they're trying to follow that same thing too. So that's essentially what Mercedes is doing. Instead of remembering all their random letters and collections of numbers, they're giving you a new random collection of letters and numbers.
And
this thing looks like an eye chart. I have to say, like, looking at the article and seeing all the different stuff, I feel like I'm at the doctor's office. G, L, S, like.
But the weird thing is, they did all of this. Here's the weird thing: they did all of this. They talked about how they're going to use the core models, but one that's missing is GLB. There is no GLB in here anywhere, but the B is one that they mentioned. So that kind of makes me curious what kind of garbage they're going to come up with next in the SUV realm.
It's going to be an SUV coupe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes perfect sense. But
it has to fight the X2 if it's a B.
Yeah, because the GLE is going to be there's going to be a GLE Coupe, which is going to be the SUV coupe.
Well, but that's going to be 5 Series and 6 Series.
No, the GLA, it says it right here. The GLA is what the ML class is.
Yeah, well, but they are also going to have the GLE Coupe. They have the.
That's what I'm saying is you have the GLE and the GLE Coupe, which I think would be X5, X6.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah. So we have basically the GLA that already exists. The GL is becoming the GLC. The GLK is becoming the GLC. The ML is becoming the GLE. There's going to be a GLE Coupe, and the GL becomes a GS, and the G stays the same. Whew! Did everybody?
All right.
The SL's there's a little bit more. The SL is now the SLK is now SLC, and they're making their engines easier to understand with just single letters behind each number instead of like Blue Tech and everything like that.
That part I like.
Yeah, that I do like.
Plug-in hybrid Ecotec D. It's just D for diesel, P for plug-in, or whatever. Like H for hybrid. Like
E350 Blue Tech. E350 Blue Tech or E350 CDI is now the E350 B. Nice and easy.
Which is where it needs to be, because when I have to write about these cars, I hate writing the 2014 Mercedes-Benz E450 Ecotec Diesel Blue whatever. No, dear God, no. Anyways, this is obnoxiously boring. I'm sorry I put this in the news. Dear God.
I tried to make it as interesting, but yes, it is a little bit boring. But we have to talk about it. It's Mercedes. It's important.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about things that make Mark super happy.
Yeah, because this is exciting.
Or it's more General Motors stuff.
Yeah, more General Motors. So, okay.
It's not that exciting.
Yeah, well, just because you suck at life. So, another CEO position change-up thing. So, it was the vice president, he's the vice president of GMC now. His name is Duncan Aldred. He came from Opel and Vauxhall in Europe. Now he is the main man, and he's been there since February at GMC. And he is talking some smack about the brand. He says, quote, "I have come to do a job and to change the face of the brand." And, well, if you look at GMC's brand lineup, they don't really have that many vehicles. So we are not looking at changing what we currently have. We're actually adding new cars. And in the very corporate speak that he spoke of, it was very, like, loose in general and how he's going to do things. Read the article, you figure it out. But long story short, we're looking at possibly an SUV that is above the Yukon Denali, which kind of makes it an Escalade, but not really because it's a GMC. So I don't even know how they're going to do that. We're also looking at a mid-size SUV crossover, and this is what makes me very happy. We're looking at a possible Wrangler competitor. Like, and the only thing that I can think of in GMC's past lineup is the old, like, 1980s Jimmy, which was like the Chevy Blazer version of GMC, you know. And so, two-door, removable hardtop, like, roll bar, 2 rows, lifted suspension, big fat tires, and a V8.
Until the bean
so
counters
bad.
get a hold of it and turning it into a small crossover.
Correct. So it scares me.
I mean,
what
I
could
don't
possibly
know.
happen? But I think, and here's my thing, and I didn't expound on this too much in the article, but I want to explain myself. So back last, what was it, April Fool's, Truck Trend actually made a rendering of the then new F-150, and they made it into a Bronco, and it blew up, huge fiasco for them on April Fool's because everyone thought this rendering is so good, it looks like Ford did it. Are we getting a Bronco? And apparently Ford is now taking note, like, oh crap, maybe we are. Christian's saying no, but it might happen. Yeah, you never know.
If it does, it will not be 2 doors. It won't be. It will not be a huge 2-door SUV. It's not going to exist.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
I do. Nobody. There will be 15 people who buy one, or the first year they'll sell like 40 or 50,000 of them, and then not a single one will be sold for the rest of eternity because everyone goes, "Oh wow, having this giant SUV with 2 doors is really, really stupid."
And every one of those 40,000 sales will come from Central Florida, probably.
Hey, you know what? It's fine, and they will become a collector item, and we'll make lots of money on it. But anyway, here's my theory: we could either do a full size based off the Silverado, or we could do a smaller size compact based off the Colorado Canyon.
If it's going to be an actual Wrangler competitor, now I think if that's how they try and position it to the bean counters, you can make that happen because Chrysler makes money on the Wrangler.
Like hand over fist.
And that's partly because it's the only thing in that segment. Like, yes, there is the G-Class, which is just as capable, but it's 3 times as much.
Oh, yeah.
But, like that's it. You have, like, the Wrangler or the G-Class. If you want a small, square thing that you can roll down a hill, like, that's all you get.
Well, I don't even compare the two because, yeah, the G-Class is great off-road, but you can't take the doors off, the top doesn't come off, and you can't hose it out. So the Wrangler's its own little thing that sits all by itself, and that's why it makes so
people
much
buy
money.
the G-Class, because it's not made of rubber, it's made of leather, and because it is a little stiffer and stuff like that. But I mean, like, I've seen them. In fact, Mr. Bowman himself he called up a bunch of his Wrangler buddies and took it through Wrangler trails. He broke the thing.
I know.
It had these big, beautiful chrome step bars on it, and boom, right on a rock. It's like, that's what they're there for. But like that. But still, if you want a car that is that capable from the factory of being off-road in that size, like those are the only 2 things you get. Aside from price and interior fittings, like they are very similar in size and ability, but they're the only 2, and they are very far apart from each other. So that's where I think GM could maybe squeeze in a little bit.
Yeah. So and you're right. I think that possibly that size thing would probably be their best bet. So while I would like a full-size 2-door SUV, Bronco, GMC, Jimmy, Blazer competitor, it probably won't happen. I think the mid-size is probably where it's going to be at. Plus, I mean, that 3.6-liter V6 is a great engine.
Imagine if they sold it with the diesel.
Oh yes.
Mark will be signing up for it.
I mean, I don't.
Whether I was invited to the press event or not, I would just show up, buy my own plane ticket, stay at the Motel 6 down the road.
Just sleep in whatever press car they have there. It's like just
Yeah.
because I mean, if it's a soft top, you just like sneak up and nobody's looking, like unzip it and crawl in, and they just show up the next day to start the press event and like open up the doors, and you're just sitting in there like huddled in the corner.
That'd be me. I would do that.
You know what? I will come because that's a great story.
Yeah, I will let you be my photographer.
All right. So there we
Get
go.
thrown out and put in jail.
All right. Let's go ahead. We've got. You know what? I'll just run through these super fast. We know Maserati's making an SUV. It looks like it's going to be an X6 competitor. It is super ugly. But if you want to, it looks like a big ugly fish that's had its back end cut off. We have photos, actually like a big fish mated with a turtle.
Well, remember, it's just a Maserati Ghibli on the lifted up chassis.
That's
not
exactly what it is.
It's not a production. It's a mule.
Except it looks even super ugly. But so those photos are on the site if you want to see them. We also have spy photos of a Rolls-Royce Wraith Sport, which is a Rolls-Royce Wraith with a body kit and a little lip spoiler. That's literally all we know about it, but there's no real camo on it, so if you want to go check those photos out, we have those. Also, we just put up our first piece in what is hopefully going to be a fairly big series. We think driving schools are awesome, and we think if you like driving, you should take a driving school because it will dramatically improve not only your abilities, but your level of safety on the road and your control of your car. So we're going to start covering driving schools, and the first one we have covered is Dirtfish Rally School up in Washington. It's near Seattle. Subaru sponsors and runs the club. They have STIs. They have BRZs now. They're doing a rear-wheel drive class. Like Travis Pastrana has done stuff there. Bucky Lassick, he's one of their drivers for the Subaru GRC Rally team. So that's up on the site if you want to check that out. We have full rundowns of every course that they offer, how much they cost. You can see where the course is. All that sort of stuff's laid out for you, and we're going to try and do more of that so you guys can get a good idea of what driving schools are out there for you. Obviously, we're going to start with the U.S., depending on how things go, depending on how much you guys like it. If you do like it, send us feedback in the comments for that piece, and then maybe we can try and expand it further from that point. But I just want to let people know that that's out there and that's on the site. But let's go ahead and move on to our questions and answers because we have 5 of them.
Whew.
Yes, so thank you guys very much for sending us questions because we really like getting questions. We've got 15 minutes to bust through these guys. I think we can do that. That's 3 minutes a question. Oh, God, we're going to be way over 3 minutes a question. Hey, guys, great episode. This is from Hulty. Hey, Hulty. So, hey, guys, great episode. I'll try to listen to you guys live this week, and he is, so thank you. Here's a question for you. What 3 cars would each of you pick as the best the 90s had to offer? Does it matter if it's a sports car, luxury, cheap car, SUV, whatever?
Wrangler, TJ.
Homer.
Easy. No, you know, I don't know. I have a very big soft spot for like a 98 or 99 Tahoe. Just a square body with a little bit updated interior with a 5.7. I don't know. I don't know. I think it was I don't know. I think it's just one of the better looking boxy SUVs of the day.
Okay. Well, we'll start with one each, I guess, and then we'll keep adding from there. One of mine is the Aston Martin Db7. So that was the first car from Aston Martin to come out with this new sort of super sexy, swoopy body that they're using on everything that they have today. So in 1998, they had already built 2,000 of these things. I think the original one was like a 95 or 96. 1994 was the first Aston Martin Db7. So that same basic style has been moved and evolved to what they have today, and it's still stunning. So that's one of my favorite cars because it was, one of the first cars to come out like that. It had their 5.9 liter V12, which has been expanded to be the 6 liter that they have now. It's like everything that we love about the Aston Martin Vanquish today started with the DB7.
Okay. I'm going to reach back into the years back when Toyota was absolutely insane and very cool at the same time. I'm going to say the Toyota Celica All-Track.
Awesome.
That car is so underappreciated, so unknown. It's a 220 horsepower, all 4 wheels. A very unassuming car unless you're right up close to it. And I mean,
it just looked like the older Celica, but it was turbocharged and all-wheel drive. They took it to rally racing.
Mm-hmm. And that car, and that was back when the Celica was still kind of sexy. The Celica still had that good look to it before they ruined it in its last generation. That was still the sexy.
I like the last generation too.
What the
Martians got fired.
Yes.
I drove one for a while.
Oh.
Why does that not surprise me?
It wasn't my car though.
Say, did it match your purse?
It matched my ex-wife.
Touche, sir. Touche. I could think.
Excuse me, I'm aspirating some water. Oh, that almost went all over my computer. That would have been terrible.
That's what she said.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to stick to that same sort of vein as Justin, and I'm going to say the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4.
Yes.
So the 3000 GT VR4 was a 3000 GT with turbochargers and all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering. Most people don't even seem to know this thing existed. It's a lot like the Talon TSI Turbo. Unless you played like Forza Motorsport 2, you don't know the Talon TSI Turbo exists. But it was an all-wheel drive turbocharged Talon. But that's what the 3000 GT VR4 was. The VR4 is the important part. That got you the turbocharged engine and the all-wheel drive with four-wheel steering. Thing was a barnstormer of a machine. Blew away tons of way more expensive performance cars, but it was a Mitsubishi, and so people didn't really buy it because they were kind of worried about it and they didn't care, and it sort of has faded into obscurity. There's like a hardcore group of people who know about this thing and who love them and who want all of them, and they cost lots of money. I think a good one right now is like $24,000 or $25,000. But holy crap, are they awesome!
Also, this is the same car that was on Fast and Furious.
No, I think that's a Supra, buddy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But another thing that kind of killed it was the fact that those are the years of the I can't remember what they call it, the Diamond something or other, back whenever Mitsubishi and Dodge were sharing everything.
Oh yeah.
And the Dodge Stealth RT kind of killed it too.
Right, because it said Dodge on the front, not Mitsubishi.
Yep.
It wasn't one of them Japanese cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
The RT didn't have the all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering, did it?
I think it did. I'm pretty sure it did. I have to double check that, but I thought it did.
I was a 3000 GT fan, not a Dodge Stealth fan, so I didn't.
I was only 3002. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mark, do you have another car for us?
No, I gave you two already.
Okay, I'll jump in, and I'm going to go in the same direction you're going here, and kind of steal one of yours, you said, but the different brand, the same thing with the whole Chrysler Mitsubishi thing, the Eclipse GSX-T.
Okay.
That car was
another version of the Talon.
Yeah, TSI. Oh, that car is awesome. Do you have another one?
That was so you talked about a Celica back when it was good, and I talked about Mitsubishi back when it was good.
Back when the Eclipse was good.
Right, and that was back when the Eclipse was good.
My God, bring back the 90s fast cars. They were so cool.
You know what? That reminds me of what I'm going to use as my third one. I was going to use the Miata, because even though it's a 1989, technically it was a 1990 car.
Didn't he say no Miata? Oh, no, that's the next one.
No, that's the next one. So what about the NSX?
Okay. Oh, so also
yeah,
good. I was going to go with cars that then sucked but then were good, and go with the Toyota the MR2 Turbo from like 91 and 92.
Yep, I had that written down at first. I took it off.
Man, that thing is sweet. That car would literally blister Ferraris of the day around the racetrack, and it wore a Toyota badge. And then they made that weird MR2 Spider coupe thing last generation, and it was terrible.
Completely ruined it for me. Okay, my last one, speaking of cars that sucked but were extremely awesome at one point, the GMC Syclone.
Oh, yeah. That's a great answer. I like that answer.
What happened to the 90s?
1 year. 1 year they built that damn thing, and it started the sport truck world. It launched it, and same with the Chevy Typhoon version. That thing was just insanity.
Yeah.
Totally awesome. I love
well, it was the Typhoon was the SUV version.
Yeah, that's the SUV.
Yeah, it's a Cyclone. Typhoon.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right. So there you go. The 90s had a bunch of great freaking cars. Why don't we live then? And now I'm gonna blow the rest of the day on YouTube, or on eBay. This is terrible.
Craigslist.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to Paul Green's question. Thank you, Paul. Let's play a game. Let's play a game. You have $20,000 to buy a car, any car, and make it into a track day toy. What would you pick? To make things harder, you cannot buy a Miata.
Okay.
See, I think this is super easy.
This is easy for me too, but who wants to go first?
I'll let the easy guys go first. Yeah, I'm gonna copy your answer.
Mine is, maybe it's because I live in Florida, maybe it's not, but I would pick the Corolla AE86. I think that thing is an awesome rolling chassis. Take that chassis, you can do whatever you want with it. There's all kind of different engines, different kits you can put on this, and you make it super fast and super handling, and it's an unimposing kind of car. You don't expect it to be what it is.
So, okay, mine is sort of the same sort of idea of a car that really is a perfect chassis to mold into anything you want to. And I'd buy a classic air-cooled 911.
Okay. Can you get one?
Yeah, no, dude, you could get a decent running like mid-80s SC model for like 17 to 18 grand. I mean, that's one with full interior and with all that sort of stuff. If you're just looking for a rolling one that doesn't even run that well, you're looking at like the 12 or 13 range. So that gives me $7 grand to roll cage, fix what little rust or dents might be in it, and upgrade that engine. And I have a 911 race car.
Oh, there you go.
Mark.
I like that. I'm gonna have to stick with my American roots here and think. I could pick up a Corvette C4 for cheap, just cheap, and I could do a lot of stuff with it.
Terrible.
Yeah, they were, but you could rip everything out and start over.
You could. Yeah, actually, because you can get a C4 for $5,000 all day long, and then drop the other $15,000 on getting a new crate motor for it, and suddenly your C4 doesn't suck that much anymore.
Yep, put an LT4 in it. Or LT1, yeah.
Yeah, get the LT1, get some coilovers, maybe do some seam welding to tighten that thing up.
Yeah, a nice full roll cage. Yeah.
All right, so Paul, there you go. Next question from Darren007. What would you guys pick as the top 3 most beautiful engine bays you have ever personally seen? I've seen an Alfa Romeo 156 GTA and could not believe my eyes how beautiful that engine looked. Italians really know how to make beautiful engines. Too bad they're not very reliable. Because most of the cars we see, engines are pretty ugly. I'm going to cut this one down to 1 each. And he does throw in there you've seen in real life. So that might make it a little more difficult, but go. Because I'm going to win, but we're just going to go.
All right, well, I'm limited on this one because I don't get to go to very many car shows, the joys of being the editor. So I'm just going to have to say, in my personal life, it has to be probably the Ram SRT10, only because the Viper engine just looks sexy underneath that big engine bay in the Ram. I always thought it was cool.
I thought you were going to use your Miata, to be honest.
No, if you guys, it's very attractive. It's got hoses and wires and everything else floating.
Oh, but see, but it's got something special. So it doesn't matter what color your Miata is. Every Mazda Speed Miata has a red valve cover, and it is awesome. Just open up the hood, and it's like this awesome, just bright red spot in the middle of it because red ones go faster. All right, Mark.
I guess it's probably just because I said it earlier and now I'm stuck on it. Corvette C4. Because it has a clamshell hood and you can basically see the side of the engine. The ZR1, and it was that dual overhead cam, the only dual overhead cam ever in a Corvette, and it had this huge plenum intake
the big chrome
down in the front. Yeah. It really was a really pretty engine, and there's not many wires and crap around it, and it's got Corvette scripted on the side of the valve cover, and it looks really good. So I've seen that in person, so. That's off the top of my head. That's all I can think of right now.
All right. I have actually seen in person once the most beautiful engine bay ever created for any car of all time ever, and that is the McLaren F1, which not only does it have this incredible, massive, naturally aspirated engine sitting there, which makes all the power in the world, but because it was a car that was built with money, no object sort of expenses, the entire inside of the engine bay is lined in gold foil because that is the best heat conductor known to man is gold. So I have actually seen the McLaren F1 engine bay in person. I didn't get to get very close to it. They were very protective. But I have seen one of those, and it is just stunning in every way. So there we go. Next question is from Daniel White. I've recently seen the video of a tuned Golf R Mark 7. The car was outrageous. 25,000 euros just for the interior. It was all leather. It looked awesome, and God knows how much more the performance upgrades cost. The car had 776 horsepower on race fuel. It was running 650 on pump gas, all out of a 2-liter engine. My question is, if you had that much money, what would you do? Buy a Porsche or a C7 or any other great sports car, or just mod the car and make it ridiculously fast? I am an old man, essentially on the inside. So I would buy a new factory car all day long. I don't like trouble and hassle that comes with having a tuned car. I don't like, having all the bits cut out and then put back together to make it better. I just want to buy a brand new car that is super good and super fast right now.
Yeah, see, I have this strange obsession with sleepers. So I would buy some old sleeper car and just tune the hell out of it. Nothing like, mid-90s Nissan Sentra with like 600 horsepower. It's my idea of fun.
See, I love that sort of stuff, like Atomic Betty, the V8 Miata that I drove. It looks just like a Miata with some fender flares on it, and that's it. But that's sort of different because a company built that for me, and the engine comes with a warranty, and, that's all legit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I built things for fun, like my dining room table back there. I built that. The desk I'm using, I've built, and I've fixed cars before. I also don't want to know that when I'm driving at excessive speeds in my 485 million horsepower whatever, in the back of my head, I'm constantly going to go, remember, you put this together.
Did I remember to tighten that bolt?
Right. No. You hear that rattle noise, you're like, what's that rattling noise? Is my pulley about to fall off of my supercharger because I'm an idiot and didn't tighten it to torque specs? Like, that sort of stuff bothers me. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in your same boat. I think I'm just going to take the money and buy me a Hellcat Challenger or Charger and call it a day.
Right, and also, see, like the Hellcat, like, and there's so many good cars today. Like 5 or 10 years ago, this question probably would have went the other way, but like that 911, I want that. Like, I can't build a 911 like the one that I drove. Like, I would have to buy that. I can't. I mean, I could build a 700 or a 650 horsepower Corvette, but like I could just buy a Z06 that was built alongside and designed alongside the actual Corvette race car. Like, that sort of pedigree you can't really do. And you can buy a 700 horsepower Challenger with a full warranty. So,
I think that's the direction I would go.
All right, so last question from Sammy833. What do you guys think about the new 2-liter, 268 horsepower diesel engine from VW? It's magic. And the 10-speed DSG. I think that diesel engine would be perfect for a Golf R diesel. I think if Volkswagen wanted to make a Golf R diesel, that would be a great engine as well. I would rather just see them put it in a GTD and call it that. I think a 10-speed DSG is too many damn gears.
Yeah, I just got done driving something that had 9 speeds, and I was like, holy crap, it's just too much.
Was that the 200?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 speeds, and it just, it felt like an old jukebox that had to slot through the records. So I was like, click, 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 and it was just, I don't know.
Right, especially because they're tuned for fuel economy, so it's like 1,200 RPMs, it drops you down to 1,000. So it's like vunk, 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 because you're in 9th gear and then you're on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I first of all, the 2-liter, 268 horsepower, I love it, love everything about it. The transmission, I think on the DSG that's a little bit much. I don't mind it on standard automatics. If it's a regular old automatic that's like the BMW's, I think it's called a Steptronic, where we actually skip gears when you don't need it, I'm fine with that. When you do need it, when you want fuel economy, it shifts up through each individual gear. But if you're hammering on it, it'll skip gears. If it's built like that, I love it. But 10 speeds on a DSG, that's too much. That's way too much.
Like, to be honest, I think really more than 7 is too much for 99% of driving. Like, just give me 6 normal spaced gears, like fairly tightly spaced, and then just give me an obnoxiously tall 7th gear overdrive. Like that's how the 911 is, right? Like, I think it's 70 miles an hour in 6th gear. You're spinning at something like 3,200 RPMs. And, like, you drop it into 7th, and it drops down to 1,800. I mean, it's just this obnoxiously tall overdrive gear that is purely for fuel economy. Like, that's, I think, all we really need. Because when I'm getting 300 RPM change between 9th gear and 8th gear, and I'm going 80 miles an hour, at that point, one of those gears could have just not been there.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, that was one of my complaints with the 200 is that as I was going literally 70 miles an hour down the interstate on flat ground with cruise control on, I was only in 8th gear. I had to either go over 75 or manually put it in 9th gear at 70 miles an hour,
right?
Which is really odd to me.
It's just this pointless gear.
Yeah, why is it there? Give it to me as early as you can. When I'm driving smoothly, and let me get the fuel economy. And when I was going 70 miles an hour on flat ground in 9th gear, I was only turning 1,300 RPM. It's fantastic.
Fun thing, actually, about the V8 powered Miata, with its 6-speed manual, because the way the gearing is done on that car, in 6th gear you're turning 1,500 RPMs at 70 miles an hour, so it'll do 30 miles to the gallon.
Oh my
That's
God.
fantastic.
You don't want to see what my Miata's doing in 6th gear at 60 miles an hour. It's like 2,600 if you're lucky.
All right.
That's how this SCI is.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna move on. We're at an hour and 3 minutes, so we're actually gonna have a decently length show today.
All right.
So thank you for the questions. Please send us more questions because we love questions, and questions we think are probably the best part of the show for most of you guys.
They are.
Questions and weekly wheels. The middle's just filler. All right. So own, drive, burn from Mr. Matt Lake. Thank you, Matt. Another great episode here. 3 cars for own, drive, burn. Number 1, A45 AMG. Number 2, Audi RS3. Number 1, BMW 1 Series M. So he has given us a trio of incredible pocket rockets. Justin.
Well, okay. Well, because the 1M is the oddball here, the other 2 are available in hatchback. The 1M, unless he's talking about the M135i, which I don't think. That's a coupe only. So I will have to burn that because I love hatchbacks. So I'm sorry, that's got to be burned. Drive once, want to drive the Audi RS3 one time, and I got to own that A45 AMG because that is the exact same engine his GLA 45 AMG had, and I want to hear that crackle every single time I change gears. For the rest of my life, for all of eternity, play that soundtrack in my coffin when you put me in the ground.
Play that funky music, white boy. Mark, go.
Whoa. I kind of have to agree. Like, I really like that GLA, and so I think that this the 45 would be, or the A45 would be, that would be a fantastic thing. And the RS, that is a great looking little car. It's almost a toss up between the 2 of those, but I think the 45 would just be a little bit better, a little more fun. And the BMW, I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me that much. So yeah, I think I'll just have to burn it.
All right, and you both are absolutely utterly wrong, and quite frankly, I think you're idiots. So, AMG A45 or Mercedes A45 AMG, drive that once because all of the noise. Audi RS3, who cares? Set it on fire. BMW 1 Series M has been quoted by almost every single human being in the world who has seen it, looked at it, touched it, or heard it, or especially driven it, one of the greatest BMWs to ever be created, ever. Also, only 2,000 of them or so exist, so it's super rare. That is going to be my everyday driver. Also, it comes with a manual. It has a straight 6, turbocharged, tuned out the wazoo. I think it's like 365 horsepower or something, rear-wheel drive, 3 pedals. Again, super rare. It came in this awesome, like, flaming burnt orange paint. That's what I'm going to keep every day. I will drive the AMG because all of that noise. And sorry, Audi, I love your cars, but in this scenario, you just lose out.
Well, you make a darn good argument.
Of course I do. That's why I'm here. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been our show. Oh, Hulty,
I didn't agree with you.
Hulty says BMW has 3 pedals because Hulty understands how the world works. 3 pedals win all the time. So, yes, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging out with us. Once again, this is the TopSpeed.com podcast. If you enjoyed our show, please let us know. If you hate our show, please let us know. If you have anything else to say about our show, please let us know.
Let us know when you listen.
Yes, let us know when you listen. And again, we need questions and own, drive, burn suggestions. You can leave those in the comments below. You can reach us on Twitter at TopSpeed Podcast. You can reach us by email. Email address is super simple. It is podcast@topspeed.com. If you want to find me, Justin, or Mark directly, you can do that on Twitter. I am at Moeferd. That is Moeferd. Justin is at The Car Junkie. And Mark is at Mark McNabb. I'm going to play some music. We're going to dance around a little bit, and our show is going to be over. We hope everyone had a wonderful time. Remember, have a super safe Friday. Have a super awesome week. Make sure you guys make it to be here next week, all right? We will see you next Thursday. Same Top Speed time, same Top Speed channel. Peace, guys.